Yo,
Yo,
what up, Josh?
how's it going, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I would imagine that you are doing like fucking above the moon.
Yeah, no, it's
Holy shit.
things are great, man. Things are great.
Dude. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, obviously. But I'm still like trying to figure out some words for last week. The fact that I realized it has been 1 week, right?
Yeah, it's been exactly a week.
Which is crazy. Because like in my head, I was like, oh, that was like 2 weeks ago. That was like a couple weeks ago, no problem. And then I was like, no, that was literally last Saturday.
Yeah, it was last Saturday.
But yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? This badass, crazy ass motherfucker across the table from me. Yeah, introduce yourself, and then we'll kind of get into the swing of things, kind of like what I'm very curious about, where I guess you're at mentally now, where you were at before the fight and everything. But yeah, I'm gonna let you do your thing.
Fair enough. I'm Josh Barron. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Miami, Florida.
You're 25?
Yeah, I'm 25.
Okay.
I turned 26 on Monday. So,
Jesus. Okay.
yeah,
Holy
right in the
shit.
corner to 30. It's I'm feeling it.
Nah,
I'm
you're
feeling
good.
it.
You're good. No worries.
I grew up in Miami, Florida. Spent my entire life down there, and I moved to Orlando probably the last year. And paramedic for Advent Health Orlando.
Oh yeah.
And been training the jungle for about a year now. Yeah.
A year.
Yeah, just a year. About a year. Actually, I made a year 1 week before the fight.
Wait. Okay. Hold on. I have so many more questions
Okay.
now. Holy shit. Have you trained before?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was like, damn, that's wild.
Yeah. So total, I've been wrestling for about 10 years now. I started
Okay.
wrestling when I was 16 in high school, and I continued doing that all through college. I want to say in 2017, I was at a frat party, and I actually got introduced to a surf fraternity member. He was an MMA fighter. He's like, "Oh, why don't you come to my gym tomorrow?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Sure. So sure enough, I went, and I really, really liked it, and I ended up enrolling in that gym. That gym was MMA Masters,
Mhm.
and I told him I had experience, but I mean, truthfully, I wrestled. I had no
Yeah.
really
It's
experience
not
aside from that.
quite the same. Yeah.
And telling him I had experience, like, all right, cool, you can go to pro class right away. And MMA Masters especially has like a lot of guys in the UFC, like a lot of really bigger names, and I got eaten alive for about like 6 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially like a really, really big gym like that. Coaches really focused on like, bigger fighters. I remember at one point, Ricardo Lamas, he was like number 6 in the world at the time. They used me as pretty much like a prop for BJ Penn. He was
Wow.
supposed to fight
Okay.
BJ Penn. It was just me getting absolutely mauled, but it was stuff like that that really, like, I guess made me fall in love with sport to a degree and made me get better.
I was gonna ask that too. Like, what was there a moment that you kind of hit where I was like, oh, I love this. Like, this is something I see myself doing for real. I feel like I know what that moment is for me, but I'm always curious to see what like that is for other people.
Truthfully, like early on, I think maybe because I was young, I was in my early 20s, I was still in college, I was still doing a bunch. I loved it, but I didn't take it seriously. And I think I talked about fighting and, certain fights that try to make happen and things wouldn't line up, people drop out, injuries, whatever. But truthfully, I'm kind of glad I didn't fight back then because I don't think I was nearly as invested to it as I am now. Back in 2019, I actually tore my rotator cuff in my labrum.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. Just weightlifting, nothing big.
Yeah.
I was training at the goat shed at the time, and I was trying to get a fight. And when I got that injury, the surgeon told me pretty much two things. He said, if you want to live a sedentary lifestyle, then don't get the surgery. You don't need it. Like your shoulder hurt, you figure it out. If you ever want to do anything at a high athletic level, you need to get the surgery. So I kind of told myself at that point, like I made a commitment to myself. If I'm going to go through with this.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go under a knife, if I'm going to go through all this rehab and do all this, it's because I'm going to do badass shit after
Yeah.
this. Yeah. No, plain and simple. It's like,
That's fucking
if I'm going
awesome.
to do
Hell
this,
yeah.
it's because like I want to pursue that.
Yeah.
It was a deal I made myself. So pretty much from there is when I really started taking it seriously. I talked to my parents and told them like, hey, I want to fight.
Yeah.
And they were always like, no.
Yeah. I was curious what that conversation is
Yeah.
for other people.
Now it's completely different.
Okay.
But, my parents never really supported me on this. They kind of just thought it was a hobby, and what else do you want to do?
It's like, no, I like doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
It was almost. It kind of sucked going to work this past week.
Yeah, I remember. I saw you post about that.
Yeah.
Like I think it was like a story or something where you're just like, all right, I'm going back to work.
Yeah.
Now. Like,
And not because I don't like what I do.
Yeah.
But truthfully, just like after that, man, I just was like, dude, I want to go train. Like, I want to go train. If I could be in the gym every day, like that would make me happy.
Yeah. So I guess to talk more, I guess, specifically about last week. So you got, that was knockout at night, right? Or did
I don't believe they've officially given me a title,
okay.
but I wouldn't be wrong.
Hey Mitchell,
to such.
Come on, man. Come on, dude. No, like seriously, I remember sitting there because me, Big Chop, Seven, like
yeah,
we were all
you guys
we were all chilling, kind of like had a really really good spot because we were like cage side ish, as close to cage I guess you could be from the seats that we had. And I remember seeing you get in there. I see your walk, and I was like, okay. And I saw you when we first got in because when we first got there, like I dapped you up, you came in, and I was just like, okay, I can tell. There's a look you can tell in some people's eyes. I think at this point, I'm pretty good in terms of calling it, whether or not I'm right or wrong. But there's a look that I think I can see sometimes in fighters' eyes before a fight. Sometimes when they're walking out, sometimes like the moment they get into the cage, weigh-ins, of just like, I am ready for this. Like I know what game I'm bringing to the table. You had that look. You were like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm very confident in what I like. All the training I've done, like I had a game, like it was pretty cool to see because I have seen the opposite sometimes too. I've seen it in the gym sometimes where like some dudes are like, they talk themselves out of being in that mindset sometimes. And that makes me sad, but I also understand that.
Yeah.
Did you get to that point before the fight, or were you, this is like balls to wall, like, oh no, I know what I'm doing. Like I've seen this guy like.
Truthfully, and I mean, I'm kind of glad I had fight camps before this because you have to like process emotions better to go through it. Before, I was feeling good. I was performing well. I was training hard. Drew did 2 private sessions a week for me every single week for 6 weeks, and we were getting maybe 1-2% better every week. So by the end of this camp, I was at least like, let's say 18 to 20% better.
Yeah.
So I felt really, really confident in that. But fighting is such a fight or flight thing that, and I talk to everybody about this, you'll be like for 30 minutes like, oh, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. Yeah, I'm good. I'm a monster. I'm an animal. And then you be in the shower, you're like,
what if?
Oh my God, he might kill me. Like,
yeah.
It was so back and forth. At weigh-ins, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. But I kept on telling myself, when I talked to Drew about this, I imagine I'm in a room, right? And there's a big red button. And I just, this is the executive decision. We're making an executive decision to fuck this guy up. And no matter what I'm feeling and everything I'm feeling is now executively being directed to that purpose. So
shutting out all the other bullshit.
Yeah. I kind of clicked that in and just this. I said every single thing that I'm feeling is now geared towards one purpose and one goal. And I think that really changed everything just because it allowed me to basically redirect all this energy that I was feeling.
I think Coach Mike, I don't know if you were at that training session where he kind of sat us all down and was like, all right, you were there?
Yes, I was.
Yes. And I remember that. There are some specifics from that are gone now in my brain, but the idea of taking nervousness or the feeling of being nervous and converting that into the feeling of excitement, huge for me. Like I've never I guess envisioned it as like the big button, but as in terms of like, I'm gonna get real nerdy real quick. So, like, I don't know if people watch Avatar: Last Airbender, but like,
no, fantastic.
Okay, perfect.
If you don't,
if you haven't,
I know what you're doing.
Crazy.
I know what you're doing. Yeah, insane.
The idea of like bending lightning essentially, that's kind of how I took that though, because the different talk about like energies or whatever that you take in or whatever, but like the way that I feel before my first fight was like I was definitely somewhat nervous, but that switch happened at weigh-ins for me where it was like I looked at my opponent and I was like, I'm gonna hurt this guy. Like I'm not really concerned about what he can do to me. All of my attention and focus went on like, hey, I'm gonna hurt this dude. Like this is what he and it's fine because there's another side of me that's very like, I don't know if you have this where it's very like not pacifist, but I'm walking around and I'm doing like normal life. I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
No,
I'm not trying to get in fights.
not.
Like I don't do
Absolutely
like
not.
I'm not trying to do anything.
That's the last thing in my
mind.
mind.
Like, but when someone else is like agreed to do that, I remember thinking like I have to turn that switch off. Like I'm not like if I hit this dude and like he reacts very poorly or like, oh man, that might have like cracked his jaw, broken his jaw. I don't care. No like sympathy. Have you ever had to like turn that off or like mid fight or have you had to like think about that?
I mean,
early
truthfully,
career?
okay. And a lot of people have like certain things to say about this. I honestly felt a little bad afterwards.
I did.
Honestly.
Yeah, I'll tell you about something that I saw after the fight that I don't think you would have seen. But
no, please do. Just like, I was the end of this one high, you know, and I just understood that like really somebody has to feel it, but he's on the other end of that.
Yeah.
And in order to bring my dream to fruition, I had to grab his and crush it and step on it and throw it on the ground.
Yep.
And okay, people that know me, like, okay, I'm a bout ass motherfucker, but I'm not a dick.
Yeah.
I'm not a dick. So just the fact that I knew I was inflicting like that kind of emotional suffering was almost like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, brother.
I'll say this about like, so I know that we have to do that if we want to move up, right? That's a part of it. But I also kind of look at it too as I'm giving that other person a growing opportunity. Like it's not I do kind of feel bad, but I almost feel in some ways good. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, this moment sucks for you. I know this sucks for you. I've had moments in like jiu-jitsu competitions where I'm like, damn, this dude's just way better than me. Like he just outclassed me, he outmuscled me, outskilled me, whatever. But then I take that and I can like I hope that any opponent I ever have that's in that same position, I hope you take that energy and you do the whole lightning bending thing. You turn it towards
turn that into something
because like I yeah, it sucks, but I almost feel like it feels better for me to look at it in a situation like I just gave that guy an opportunity to be better than he was tonight.
Yeah, there's a mantra that I always repeat to people. It's just that every wound is a womb, right? Elliot Hole said that. And it's true.
That's really good.
I do resonate with that as well.
Yeah.
I hope that he takes all this event the same way that I take this event for myself and try to use it to make myself better rather than use it for negative energy and negative purposes. Yeah,
I did see him walk past us after the fight. I don't know if this is like taboo. If this is talking about this kind of stuff, somebody in the fight scene yell at me, tell me, hey man, don't do that. It's not cool.
I didn't know.
I don't know either. I'm just kind of putting that out there. I remember seeing him walk past us after the fight, and I remember I didn't realize that we were around all of his people while we were there, and it wasn't until after he walked by and then all his people were kind of like patting on the back, talking to him, and I was just like, I didn't say anything to him, but I remember him looking at me. I remember nodding back at him. And I remember right before that, he was saying like he didn't see it. Like he didn't see, I guess, either, I'm assuming the first like
hook. A left hook.
Yeah.
Left hook.
It was like a hook very under.
Yeah, it came from my waist.
Yeah. He didn't see it. And I remember him saying that. And I remember the expression on his face was like, yeah, all right, I didn't see that. Next time. Like that's what the vibe I got from him. And after I saw that, that was when I gave him the nod. I was like, okay, cool. You got it. Like that's for me. I was like, you're not walking away from this like, oh man, I fucking suck at this sport.
No, you're
I'm
like,
trash. Like
shit happens.
Yes.
Shit happens.
Yes.
And
like
that's exactly what I told him. Like, listen, the first exchange, we both had our noses in it. We were both dogging it out there. So could that have easily been me? Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So it just comes. We both agreed to get in there. It just comes with it. It could have easily been me, and if it was me, then I would have ate it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I saw. Have you seen? I'm assuming you've seen Coach Jeanette's video.
Yes.
From her perspective. Have you talked? I'm sure you have. I'm assuming you've talked to Coach Drew.
Yes.
Afterwards.
Yes.
That is the best reaction.
I died laughing. Oh,
Oh,
he was
man.
literally gripping the cage like an absolute monkey. Like
it was so funny.
Ridiculous.
But I mean, to be fair, I will say that was everyone's reaction. Like internally, like everyone was gripping the side of that cage and going nuts.
I wish I knew more about like. I asked you like, what was the crowd's reaction? Not because I'm like so like, enthusiastic about like more so because like I couldn't really tell what was going on. Like
Like from the crowd's perspective.
Yes. So in a sense that I walked out, and the moment Alex started putting Vaseline on my face, everything got like fisheyed.
Yep.
I'm guessing like the adrenaline hit very, 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 very hard. I could see everything about maybe 3 or 4 feet in front of me in great detail, but everything else is kind of like
gone.
Yeah, not really there. So when it happened too, just I couldn't really see really much out of the cage. I didn't really know who was around me. I saw Drew right there. He's the first person I went to because he was hanging off.
Yes.
Just animated.
So good.
But man, it was just like hard to really like absorb everything else that's going on because I guess everything in front of me was so magnified. I'll never forget it. Truthfully, it was something else. Especially just like Alex's gloves were black.
Yeah.
So it just added to the effect, and it was nuts. It was honestly nuts. I do say that was a big part of it as well. That it was this big adrenaline crash that I kind of just rode perfectly.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it.
I mean, so I think one thing that I think people think about fights like that end so quickly, is sometimes I feel like they're like, oh, we didn't get to see enough of the fighter to like make judgment calls and all that stuff. But I think in that short 10 seconds, there was so many things that you did like beautifully that like, I guess, it is a little degree of like, hey, I'm analyzing like super micro things, but like that first exchange from you guys, like it was a little wild, but like, I think the way that you pulled back, reset, and then like focus, and then even your footwork to slide around, I was just like, damn, that was beautiful. Yeah. Like that was like,
no, thank you.
That was
thank
absolutely like that was artwork. That was crazy.
Drew pointed that out to me is because truthfully, I kind of thought on my end, at least for a first day or two, it was kind of botched. Like I thought like from my perspective, I thought that I went out there and just I saw it, freaking flung it, and that was that. But when you really broke it down, my footwork was where it needed to be.
That shit was beautiful.
And I think that Drew said it was one of the most technical punches I've ever thrown in my life. But at the time, I just kind of thought I just threw that thing out there and said Hail Mary. But
were you expecting this to kind of be a brawl, or were you going in with like a stand-up game kind of mentality?
Truthfully, no. The game plan was to wrestle. The
game
plan was to wrestle. I had no idea the fight was going to go this way. I knew it was gonna be a brawl. I knew that. I definitely thought he was game coming into it.
From what I've heard, he was definitely game for that. So
but I never expected it to go that way. Truthfully, I didn't really think to even throw it. It just kind of like happened.
But that's what they drill into us.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. It's supposed to be like you're not supposed to think about it. It's supposed to just be like a normal. Yeah.
No, it was definitely plugged in. If that makes any sense. When I hit him with my right, and I mean, he flew off my right hand.
Yep.
He flew off my right hand. And as he's falling back, I just saw his eyes go white.
Yep.
And I kind of like took a skip and power slid to his head.
Yeah.
And that first right hammer fist that I hit him with, I'm not kidding you, that was the hardest I have ever hit anyone or anything in my life. And I saw his head just rock back and his eyes go white again.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I knew it was over.
Dude. In watching that is always like the scary, like health medical kind of side of things. When I see a guy who's on their butt or on their back and they're defending and then their legs go flat. That's I'm like, oh shit, that guy's out. Like that he's not defending, he's not trying to get his legs in between the two of you. He is out. And I saw that happen. I was like, this is done. And then I think you hit him one other time after that, and then the ref was able to get in between. I was like this is over now.
Yeah, it was the first big hammer fist, and then I count like 1, 2, the second hammer fist on my left, he's out. I think I clip him with third and I'm off.
Yeah, by that point,
great ref stoppage. Great ref stoppage. He got right away, and I'm glad he's able to be okay and walk away from that.
Yeah. So right after that, you're up. You're like, obviously, like there's cameras and everything everywhere. What's going through your head?
I don't believe it.
No,
I don't believe it. I don't believe it happened. So I really don't. Like I don't believe it happened. I don't understand the significance of it. I'm still kind of like, like, it's just in general, like, it's hard for me to even freaking talk. But I hadn't processed it yet. Like, people are congratulating me, and I'm like, but like, I wish I could say it was real, like, joy afterwards. I was still just kind of like in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got home and I took a shower. And I got out of the shower, and then kind of like, I got these like little school kitty like giggles.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah. But I wish I could have felt more that way afterwards. But I was just still like just so amped up.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I was happy, I was raging,
Sure,
I was overjoyed, but I couldn't really appreciate it. Just because I was just so animated. But even now, as I was saying, I still to some degree kind of like watch it back over and over, not because like I'm admiring it, but more so I'm just like, I can't believe that's me.
Yeah. I remember all the footage I've seen of it after the fact. Like it's a very cool. It's like one of those like when your friend has like this huge moment, and as the bystander, you're just like, I can't think of another person that deserves that more. Like so, and you can tell me whether or not I'm wrong. I have seen moments, not just with you, but other people in the gym, where like I can tell that they're kind of like discouraged or down, or like they feel like they're not good enough, or they're concerned about their next fight or something of that nature. I've seen that. I actually think you and I had a very, very brief conversation right after we finished either a round of a Friday night or something like that. And you were talking, I think you were like, man, you're really strong.
You
like,
are really strong. You're outrageously strong.
I'm somewhat strong.
You're outrageously strong. No, I'm saying it on the record right now. Joe's a very strong man.
But I remember thinking that to myself, and I was like, if Josh connects with any punch, it's over. Like because we were just grappling, I think. But I remember being down there and like just the light punches that you were throwing and sparring, and I was just like, if this guy connects clean on anyone, it is like I don't like, and sure enough, when I saw that, and I was just like, holy shit. Like that to me, it was one of those moments where like I remember that night, I remember that Friday night, and then connecting that with Saturday, I was just like, yeah, this guy is a problem. Like, and I remember thinking back, and I was like, no, I felt like he was a problem. Now I know for a fact he's absolutely a problem.
I remember that as
so
well.
Fucking
you
cool.
told me, you were like, dude, listen, if you're tapping me right now and you hit kind of hard, and anybody that spars me know, like, okay, I don't mean to do it.
No,
but like,
no one's in there trying to hurt.
I do tap people kind of hard, and I'm guessing it's partially tied into that.
Yep, somebody was talking to me about that too, where it's like sometimes I hit people a little hard, especially kicks. I think I kick a little bit harder than I should sometimes, and I'm sorry if I've done that to you. But in thinking back, I was like, whenever somebody does that to me, my brain goes, they're not doing that intentionally. That is their 50%. And that's what I was thinking. It was like, no, that's his 50%. His 50% is still like, damn. Like, and then when I think like he's gonna hit somebody at 100, and he did, and it was beautiful to watch. Like, it was fucking crazy.
No, again, it's still hard to process. But one thing I like to say is like, I think the jungle is a perfect place for me.
Yeah,
I mean that. And
especially coming from different gyms,
coming from different gyms, training, all around. I've never gotten the individual attention I got in the jungle. In fact, it's also like I go, these are my friends. Going to practice is enjoyable because I get to see all my friends. And I think that level of comfort allows me to perform better. And also because there's so many good guys right around my size. Yeah. Like Alec, Drew, Jeremy, Camacho, all these guys are so good.
Yep.
And they all beat my ass. And truthfully, they all beat my ass. And it just, that I think allows me to have a different level of confidence as well, because when Camacho goes to fight, I expect Camacho to win. Yep. When Alec goes to fight, I expect him to win. Yep. When Jeremy goes to fight, no question, I expect him to win. So I train with these guys. Yep.
So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, how can I not expect that out of myself?
Yep.
It just, especially the level of talent, man. Like, shit, dude. Like, I'll say it right now, Jeremy's my boy. Yeah. I love him to death. But like, I'm saying this on the record right now for anybody's gonna fight him next. Like, Jeremy's an absolute psychopath. Like, if we were in prison, he's the guy you can't trust with a fork. Yep. Like, I'm telling you right now. But so being able to train with guys like that, or like, I think about it. I could not think of a worse place for anybody to be on the ground with Camacho. And I get to do that.
Yep.
I get to do that. I get to be there. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Right. Simultaneously, so it's just like I talked about it with Drew. People have fears, right? Obviously, everyone has fears. I've seen my friends lose.
Yeah.
I've seen friends in the fight game lose, and I've seen them lose catastrophically. To the point that just dude, it made me cry.
Yeah.
It hurts to see.
You never want to see that.
No, absolutely not. But did I lose respect for them? No. Did I lose any faith in their capabilities? No. Drew and I talked about this. Do you fear getting hurt? No. What people fear is underperforming.
Yeah.
People fear going out there and just like not doing great, and at least give myself this guarantee, right? I was like, I can't guarantee I'm gonna win. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna go out there and whoop this guy's ass, but I can guarantee this: I'm going to go out there and do my thing.
Yep.
And I have enough confidence if I at least do that, I will prevail to some degree. I can bet on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that took me in this fight. I was like, no matter what happens, I'm gonna go out there and fight.
Yeah.
And after that, everything else is in God's hands.
Everything else is
at the very least bet on myself to like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna take the action that I need to and do my thing, and everything else is irrelevant, quite frankly. I can at least bet on that, and that's all I need.
Yeah. That's all I think that's all any fighter probably should bring with them into there. Like there's one thing for like the entertainment and selling and like promoting a fight and like you say a bunch of stupid crazy shit like at weigh-ins and whatever, like to really sell the fight. But I think once you're stepping into the cage, it's all your money's on you. That's the mindset that I try to take in. And I think everyone probably should try to take in to some degree. I guess everybody's different too, but I like that idea of like, I can't guarantee I'm going to win, but
I'm here.
Yeah. Like
I'm here.
Like I'm here. I know what I can do. I know what my game plan is. Like that's what I want to walk in with. So I guess it's been a week. Where are you at now? I guess mentally with the fight and everything, or not even necessarily with the fight, just MMA in general, like fighting in general. You have something that you're looking forward to, or
truthfully, I feel like it's just those 10 seconds changed my life, man.
Yeah.
It was, to me, it was the slaying of the dragon, because cut away the outcome. Cut away the outcome of the fight. But it was, I did the camp. I put in the work. I trained hard. I dieted. I made the weight. I showed up. I was there. I did the thing.
Yeah.
And for something, that's a goal I've been chasing for so many years in my life. It was now something that I don't see me living without.
Yeah.
Truthfully. So result aside, just the fact that I was able to walk into the cage and take that kind of opportunity and have that kind of experience was already enough for me.
Yeah.
So at this point, I took a week off and I want to get back to training.
Yeah.
I want to get back to training. I want to get better. I listened to a podcast with Cheeto Vera. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently. Yeah. He said it like, you don't get good in camp. You can't expect to develop your skills in camp. Your jumps in skill don't happen in camp. They happen when you're just training the off season. Going to classes, just training consistently and relentlessly. But when you're in camp, all you're really doing is getting your body right. So for right now, I think that I just want to train. I want to get better. I want to get my jits better. I want to get my striking better. And I just want to be a better fighter, so I know the next time I walk in there, I'm ready for whatever.
Yeah.
But now I'd like to say that I want to take a big step in my life to make this a greater focus.
Yeah. Making it kind of, like a bigger focus outside of just like, hey, this is this hobby thing that I'm doing now.
And as I told you, last year I made like a commitment to myself that's like, I want to do this.
Right.
But big thing I will say is my parents have always kind of like been, like
Mhm.
so supporting me this, and I mean now they're all in.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really cool, man.
my
That's
that's another thing I like to say, just like the fact that my dad was there.
yeah.
My dad has come and watched one of my high school wrestling matches in my life. You know, not because of any lack of support, just
Yeah,
he
it
works,
was-
busy,
yeah.
whatever. And I think that, you know, he kind of thought he was coming to like a fight, but he didn't really understand. Combat Night threw a great event.
Yes,
They threw a
they.
fantastic event.
Yeah,
They really outdid themselves, and they
I'm always
consistently do
impressed
that.
by.
Shout to Mitch.
Mitch does such a crazy good job with
Mhm.
that, and I guess I hadn't really had many things to compare it to, and as now I'm looking at other promotions and whatnot, I'm just like, no, he kills it every single time. It's consistent. There's not one where like, ooh, that event was kind of weird and that got not
You know,
every single one
time
is
they're
solid.
phenomenal.
But yeah, I didn't want to take what you were talking about
No,
your dad.
but just the fact to have him there, you know, and just at an event like that, him running all my friends, you know, most of them he hasn't even met.
Yeah.
Um, man, to do that in front of him was like, to some degree, everybody was wondering, like, man, are my parents proud of me? Like,
Yeah,
like
it's like
no,
no,
just now,
now
like,
it's there's no question.
Yeah, I ran out from after the cage. I went to my dad. Like we hugged and cried. It was like one of the best Father Son moments I ever had in my life. And just like, man,
That's so cool, man.
it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Like, thank God.
Yeah, that's man. My parents they live pretty far, so it's not like it they it's easy for them to come watch a fight, but I don't think they want to at this
Oh
point.
yeah,
Like
my mom didn't come.
yeah,
Yeah, my mom couldn't.
She's like,
handle
nope,
that.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna-
absolutely
yep,
not.
yep.
Yeah, I don't blame her. I don't blame her. It's okay.
Yeah, but that is really cool to have that backing, you know, like. And now, what's crazy to me, and what I'm thinking about, I guess, for you is like that next fight. Now that you have that kind of like all before it was like you know, like,
Yeah.
and now you have all like now you know what you can do, and B, like you have all of this, all the questions that you had before, like, oh, like my family proud of me, are they behind me?
Yeah.
All that, you got yeses on all that stuff now. So now it's just like I can fine tune this thing and just like laser beam it into this poor guy who's on the other side of the cage, which is gonna be beautiful to watch, man. I don't know. I think. Do you have like an overall arching? Because I think I'm developing one, and I'm seeing everyone else's kind of in the gym as I'm training, like an overarching like not theory, but what's the word I'm looking for here? Just kind of like an overall, I guess, mantra. That's probably not the best thing, but like a guiding kind of thought process when it comes to fighting. Because I feel like over time I'm slowly learning everyone's different kind of takes on it. Like what I mean by that is like if you watch how we use Camacho, for instance, we'll use Camacho and Jeremy because we were talking about earlier. If you watch how their fights go, they're both really good grapplers.
Oh yeah.
But like they also like they fight very differently. They're I guess this is a really good example, I guess, because they're both similar in some respect. They're both really good showmen. I think that's another cool thing. Both during and before and after a fight, I think the two of them do like some. And actually, I think a lot of people saw that with you too, where like they're like, "Oh shit, Josh is really good at this shit too."
Yeah.
I think when you're like at the weigh-ins, you're like, "No, I want this shit." Like yeah, like the dude was just like they called him. Our guys were calling him Spook Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see that from everyone. I don't see that like showmanship in the, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, no.
I think so. I just think everyone's a little bit different. I'm curious as if you feel like you've seen or analyzed that from yourself at this point.
I will say this. I mean, like I always wondered. Anybody knows me knows I'm a pretty animated person.
Yes.
You know, like I
keep hearing crackhead energy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just in pro class, you literally hear me in the corner, like, for no reason. But seeing that showmanship out of other people,
Yeah.
kind of like gave me ideas. I mean, dude, Jeremy especially, man. Jeremy can sell a fight.
Yeah.
He can sell a fight.
I remember the first time I saw him. Sorry, I'm not to cut you off, but the that video he made with the Bob in the background.
Yeah.
Before a fight, I saw that and I was just like, I like this
That's
guy.
hilarious.
This is
Yeah,
hilarious.
no, come on.
Yeah, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so at least for this time around, man, like I was just me. I was just me. Like anybody who knows me, man. Just
Yeah.
like I'm gonna do this in your face, man.
Yeah.
Like
The three languages. I love
Yeah.
that. That was good.
I came up with that on the spot. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, no, just but that's really me.
Yeah.
I used to train dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I used to train dogs. I
Hell
used to
yeah.
train dogs for personal protection.
Awesome.
I used to train dogs to hunt hogs and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
And I took a lot from it. The sense that the dogs that I work with, they display game, grit, drive, intensity, and it's something I try to bring to my own life as well. Especially like the kind of life I've lived. I always see my life as a comeback movie. I was a really chubby.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, really chubby, really small kid that got bullied a lot. And I found a lot of peace and growth in going hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Especially when I was around 16, that's when I started working out and stuff like that. But to me, like, there's nothing better than that. Like I said, like pushing that button.
Yeah.
My favorite place to be is there, in that zone where like I'm absolutely raging.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do. So being able to like show that on a more authentic level, and outwardly.
I think that's you kind of hit the nail on the head. That's the thing I think I love about fighting, and I want to make sure I remember this point in this video because I haven't had a word for it, but that is the word: authentic. It's just you. Man.
You can't hide who you are.
Yeah, it's just like
can't hide who
there's
you are in
no
the cage.
yeah. Like I've looked back at like kickboxing tournaments and like my first fight, and there's some parts of it that I'm like, man, that's a little cringy. But then after watching it a couple times, I'm like, no, that's just me.
No.
That's
Yeah.
fucking me. Like that. Like I don't know. It's a very strange thought that I haven't had the right word for up until just now. It is pure authenticity.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
people say like, okay, you know who you are. Like people act who they really are in life death situations. Well, you're pretty damn close.
yeah,
Yeah, like,
that's like the most structured version of that as you possibly can get. Structured, like it's interesting, but yeah, I've not been able to find that word until just now.
And that's like the beautiful part of it. You know, it's martial arts, and your art, you know, is what you display in there, whether it be through your attitude, your performance, your skills, whatever it might be. But it's that whole display of you, what you are, the kind of energy that you bring to the cage. That's you, man. And you can't hide that.
No,
You can't shake that.
I think there you will find the people that try to, and it will come across as like off.
You can tell.
But yeah,
You can
yeah,
tell.
it's,
You can tell if it's
it will shine a very big light on you. Like people will be able to tell if you're trying to be someone who you're not. So I guess outside of fighting, like how have you kind of wound down this week? Like what have you been up to?
Man,
Like,
okay. Truthfully, all right. I know when I said on my Instagram post, like, I will not be complacent. I've been so complacent. Bro, I've eaten so many burgers. Like, my stomach's tired of it, man.
Dude,
and like, if you usually see me, like, I'm pretty good at the nutrition.
Yeah.
I eat like that most of the time, dude.
this week,
time,
nah.
it's been terrible, and I'm regretting it immediately. I already gained at least a few pounds for sure.
Oh yeah.
But seeing a lot of friends and family, just talking to people.
That's awesome.
Going on walks, just trying to figure stuff out, you know. To some degree, I'd be lying if I said I had everything figured out in my head. I'm still kind of processing myself. So I suppose just kind of like still processing everything, honestly. I'm glad to see my friends, glad to see family, glad I'm eating again. Yeah, no, dude, it was terrible. Right around weight cut too, something happened to my phone algorithm. All I was seeing on Instagram was like all those cooking like videos, and it was so bad.
I think so. I had something similar happen to me where it was like I just got a bunch of Uber Eats ads, just a million Uber Eats. Is like, hey, we got a coupon for you. I'm like, what? Why are you doing this to me? Like, and it would never. I'd never had that up until that last like week and a half.
They know,
like, yeah. It's just like,
I
I
see
see
your phone is for sure. Like, oh my god, we're ruining
man, this dude's eating healthy. Nah, we can't have that. Fuck that up. Nah.
I will say this time around though, the weight cut that I had was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like phenomenal. If you remember back in October, I had a terrible weight cut. Trying to make it to 35.
Yeah.
So this time around, I did a lot more research to cut. Lucas gave me some pretty good tips.
Yeah, I remember he said he had
he's
like a
working
really,
Penny
really good,
performance, and he has that dialed down to a T. And the weight came off like butter. So I felt a lot better at 45 than I ever could at 35. And the next day when I walked back into the cage, I mean, dude, I was like 163 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so like I felt really, really big, and I felt really, really strong. Especially as to camp around. Like I didn't also have to starve myself either. Like I still eat pretty good. But man, I wanted the burger so bad. Man, I wanted the burger and beer so bad.
Yeah. That is something, even though I've done it now, I am still concerned about it. And I know Coach Alec and Coach Mike are going to hear me say that and they're going to get pissed. But there's something about it when I step on the scale now and I see, like, right now I'm walking around at like 178. And I'm like, man, that is 23 pounds that I need to shed. And I have X amount of weeks to do it. There's something in the back of my head that worries me about that, even though I've done it already before.
No,
but
sure.
I don't know what it is about that whole, like, the mentality of that just like really fucks with me. Like,
well, like when you talk to people that are outside of the fight game, it's like, yeah, I'm casually gonna lose like 20 pounds in a day. It's like, what do you mean? Like, how does that happen? So even now, like, even though stuff that we've done, like, I totally understand that it's daunting.
Yeah,
it's daunting. Even when I'm not preparing for a fight, or I'm not in camp, I step on the scale, look at my weight. Oh my God.
Yeah, like,
yeah, Jesus.
I know.
It just like, it makes you so self-conscious of it, and it's always been that way with me since high school, because I've always been watching my weight since high school for wrestling. But yeah, no, I totally understand that. It's just a daunting task, and weight cuts suck.
Yeah,
you know, like, period.
Like, it sucks, but I will say that, I guess that being my first weight cut, what was that, back in March? Yeah, back in March. It didn't suck as bad as I thought it was going to, except for that last sauna session. That for me, I will always remember that. That was the moment where I was like, this sucks. Like, this one sucked. Everything, all the other ones
else.
up to it, I was like, okay, cool. I think you were actually there.
Yeah.
You're like, you need some more gum? I'm like, no,
Nope.
I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm doing all right. Like, I'm fine. But that last one, that was the first and only time where I stepped out of that, and I
like,
and stand up, I was like, whoa, okay, yeah. Like, that was not great. But then I stepped on the scale and I was like, oh, awesome, we're there. Exactly. I was like, oh, awesome, that's where I want to be every time. But
I've been on the opposite two ends of the spectrum now, because I told you this time around, like, I would sit for 15 minutes and lose like 0.8, 1.2, like, flying off. And then versus last time, okay, it's just like I was doing the suffering, my body wasn't producing the fruit. So like we go sit in a sauna for 20 minutes, I lose like 0.1, 0.2. And it was just like that consistently. I remember we went to the gym. I was cutting weight with Jeremy in the morning. I was at like 48, and Alec had driven us to Crunch to use the sauna there.
Right.
And the sauna was broken.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
It was me, John, D, everyone's like, you saw us weight to cut, and we're like, what do we do? So Mitch actually let us use his personal sauna. He's like, awesome. Come to my house right there. Now, very generous of him. That sauna gets like 190 degrees. Like, okay, his personal sauna is an absolute oven. It's an oven. Jeez, when I say that, like, it was scorching us dry, dude, I've never felt like that way in my entire life. To the point that I remember the last time that we were in that sauna, bro, I was done for. John was like hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, dude, I have to poop. Oh my God, this is a chance. Like, I'm about to go poop out a pound. Like,
it was awesome.
And sure enough, I went upstairs to use the bathroom. And I guess when I bared down, bro, I straight up passed out and fell off the toilet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And like Alec came and picked me up off the floor like a baby. And like, it's just like, I should have told, like, after that, we're boys, man. Like,
yeah.
So I've been on like two ends of the spectrum now. Like, I respect anybody who even tries to make weight. I mean, listen, if you obviously missed by like 8 pounds,
yeah, like you did,
like,
yeah.
But like for the guys, you know, like, hey, sometimes coming like 3 pounds over, 4 pounds over. Hey, that sucks, but I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. You know, because it's not like I didn't try either.
Yeah,
it just shit happens.
I watched, I believe it was Raphael at the same fight or same card as me,
Yes.
and I remember,
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember seeing him walk in. I was like, damn, this dude, like I can tell, regardless of whatever like he put in everything in it, making that weight, and like, yeah, I guess everybody's body's different too. Like some people are gonna, their bodies are gonna react differently to that heat, but yeah, I've seen it. I've not experienced it, but I've seen like rough weight cuts, and I'm hoping that I can
avoid that.
avoid that
Yeah.
for the entirety of my career in this sport.
No, because
But
when people talk to me like, "Oh, I want to fight," it's just, yes, I think stepping to occasion, fighting some of these things that a lot of people can do. Do I think a lot of people can cut weight? No.
no,
No, I
no.
don't think a lot of people can cut weight.
I remember even talking to people at work about it, and like they were like,
Just
"What?
look at you like absolutely like, what is wrong with
What do you mean? That's so unhealthy." I'm like,
Yeah. Like,
yeah, like yes, you realize what else is unhealthy is getting punched in the head.
Yes,
like it's
that-
like
that-
yeah,
that
like
is not good
this
for you.
whole thing. Like I think it's funny whenever somebody brings that up, and I'm just like, yeah, like it's a contact sport.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know
it's
what to tell you.
generally just harmful
But-
to your health, I suppose.
Yeah, but I guess as a small side note, I do want to get into music.
Ooh, come on.
I want to talk a little bit about EDM because I know you and Drew are like super into that. And Lucas actually.
Yeah, Lucas loves.
I kind of like boomer-ish when it comes to this. I feel like
Nice.
because I'm beginning to learn that a lot of the shit that I used to listen to anyway is that. And I never really like put it into that category until like recently, and I was just like, oh, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like a Pache or a Pache.
Yeah,
I fucking love that dude's music. There's something beautiful. Like I've always like grown up like streaming and playing video games and stuff. Like, that music was always like some kind of like it was like drum and bass, some kind of like techno step kind of stuff back in the day, which now has just kind of evolved into what EDM really is. And then, but what I like about, is it a Pache or Posh? I don't know.
A Pache would
A
be
Pache
like the most correct version,
probably
at least according to me.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
we're going with that. But like, what I love about his music is because I come from like a background of like a little bit of string, like cello. I played trombone for a little bit, some brass
Yeah,
instruments.
his is like often more instrumental. a lot.
I love that so much. Like I love when there's hybrids of like different genres that come together and make something that's super unique. But I'm curious as to what your taste is in terms of this.
Well, anybody who knows me, man, like
Like,
it just, I love. I'm gonna say this one more time. I absolutely love dubstep.
Yeah.
Like, I love dubstep. I've loved dubstep since like 2012. And like it's been my favorite genre of music ever since. It's my favorite thing to work out to. It's my favorite thing to listen to when I'm driving. It is by far like my number one. It's just like everything to me, honestly. And the reason is, it's because of that energy. I think like, man, it's absolutely wild.
do you listen to that before like fights and stuff too, or is
Yes.
it more okay, cool.
Yes, I do. Well, okay, truthfully, this time around, I almost want to look it up. I was listening to like these motivational, just like motivational talks on Spotify. But I do listen to a lot of dubstep before fights. And it's my favorite thing to listen to while training. I literally have a whole playlist made up like specifically for sparring. All geared towards stuff. If you listen to me sometimes a pro, it's like a great day. But it's just that kind of energy that it makes me feel is the same kind of energy I try to bring when I fight, or do anything. So I always kind of say like when I'm out there dancing stuff like that, it's kind of the same thing when I'm moving in a fight. Like,
True.
it brings out that
it
same
is
energy
the
out of me.
yeah.
But I do like listen to like a lot of tech as well. I'm like going to Skyline today.
Oh hell yeah.
In Atlanta, so yeah, gonna be fun.
Did you just come back from a concert too?
Yeah, I did. So complacency.
Yeah.
But I probably don't want to say like I've listened to the genre for about 12 years now, and back in about 2018, the genre took like a very strong turn to like a lot harder music. It started getting intertwined with a lot of metal, and I think now is like because dubstep kind of died back in 2010. Now it's the most alive it's ever been.
Do you think it's because they kind of I want to say, I guess combined with that more hard style,
Yes,
like yeah,
facts.
one fact.
People love to get angry. People love to get angry. I've always
Yeah.
said that like it's an aggressive happiness.
Mm.
In the same way as I mentioned earlier, like I like to go hard. Like life is great, and this is a one-shot deal. So while I'm here, I'd like to be aggressively happy, to the fullest extent. And I think that the
I like
same
that,
way that
aggressively
music,
happy, yeah.
yeah, like I am thrilled. I am thrilled to be alive. And I think that that music evokes this kind of emotion the same way that, you know, fighting does.
So now I kind of want to try that.
Yeah.
Because like what I do, because I have like some hype music, and then I have music that like pushes me to be better. And I usually am listening to more that kind of stuff before I go into like a Tuesday or Friday night, or like if I know I'm going to have a particularly like tough like session that night, I'm like, okay, I need a little bit of push. But when the music, even my walkout music that I picked was not very like hype.
What was your song?
It's a song from Hosier. Like
Really?
yeah, that's what I walked out to.
How did that make you feel?
So that's the thing for me. It wasn't. I wanted to make sure, and I wanted to make sure myself like I was at peace when I was walking into that. It did not work because when I got in the cage, like there was definitely some like seeing red moments.
Oh yeah.
I don't want. That's my focus for July. I do not want to do that. I want to be so laser focused that I don't ever want to see red anymore. I want to, if I get in there, I want to be very focused. I want to know that, hey, I'm throwing this punch. Hey, I'm doing this.
Composure.
I'm throwing this. Yes.
Yeah.
But I guess in that thought process, I've not thought, hey, why don't you look at like some dubstep? Like maybe, because like in my head, that does not invoke that, but it might, now that I'm thinking about it, because the idea of being aggressively positive and aggressively like alive and in the moment might help with that. So now I kind of want to try that. I'm gonna keep you posted on how that goes.
No, please do.
Absolutely.
Please. I saw you post Excision
Yeah.
the other day on like
Yeah.
one of your stories, and I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yes.
Yeah. No, I get so excited.
Oh, really?
I get so, especially because, dude, back I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, all my friends like thought it was the weirdest music, and like they would never listen to it. I would go to concerts literally like just like me, like one of the first or me by myself, and now like, hey, everyone at the gym listens to it and we work out to it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I'm like, this is the best ever.
I'm trying to remember when the first time I heard dubstep. I feel like it would have. I don't want to attribute it to Skrillex, but it might be.
Yeah, no, Skrillex.
I feel like that might be. I had to have been in like either college or just graduating high
Dude,
school.
I remember like I had to have been. Dude, Skrillex was like I started listening in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like so.
Fuck, man, that's crazy. Think that was that long ago. It's wild.
Yeah, man, but it's been in my heart ever since, and nothing else I ever listen to. I think my walkout song as well as Death Waltz. Shout out to I Watch You Phase 1. Like that was the best song I could have ever picked. Ever. Yeah, no, that was phenomenal. I couldn't have think a better song to walk out to.
I definitely like when as it was playing, you walking. I was like, "Yep, that's Josh. That's all him right there. Like, there it is." It was great night, man. I don't want to hold you for too much longer, but I don't know if there's anything that you want to say, anything that you maybe I didn't ask about that you were like, "Oh yeah, I do want to talk about this thing."
Man, just I guess like thanks, bro. Thank you to everybody. Shout out to everybody at the jungle. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Drew, Coach Mike. Shout out to Jeremy. Shout out all my friends there, just helping and pushing me. I couldn't have done it without you guys. You know, August, September. That'd be good for my next fight.
Yeah.
August, September.
Yeah.
I know whoever they're gonna give me next is probably gonna be.
Yeah. Which is,
and I'm game for that.
Yeah.
And I'm game for that. That's exactly what I want. I just know that, hey man, I gotta put in the work to get there.
Yep.
And I can do it. So looking forward to that. A lot of big fights coming up for everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of big fights coming up for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm super, super excited for that. Man. Yeah, no, it's still hard for me to talk about this to some degree. I wish I could like ramble on about things in general, but it's still something for me I'm kind of processing.
That's fair. Yeah.
But
it's literally been a week out.
Mhm.
Like I every time I guess I had Lucas on a while back, and now I'm sitting here with you. I cannot express how lucky we are that we found the gym that we did.
Yeah.
I I feel like I say it often, but I never seem to feel like I have the exact right words for it. And I also don't think that I'm a very stoic-esque individual, so I don't really express my emotions very outwardly a lot.
Mm.
But I think on really hard training nights and stuff like this morning, like these very specific, intricate training sessions, and where you're learning something that's, for me, in my case anyway, something that's very difficult to grasp. Or when I get to sit across from you guys and I get like actually have like some long conversations and talking about different stuff, I you can't you can't plan for that. That is just like an absurd blessing that I don't know if people recognize sometimes. So every time it comes to my brain, I feel like I have to say it because it's like we're so fucking lucky.
Yeah.
It's
No,
it's
yeah.
wild. And seeing all like, and I don't say this to like throw any shade at any other gyms because like there are some really
Yeah,
good
no,
gyms
there's
in
a gym
Florida.
in Florida.
Florida is like nuts when it comes.
Mhm.
Like we have some solid, high quality gyms. But what we have at that gym is coming from somebody who didn't do the shopping around, just from an outsider's perspective, not going to those gyms, not training. So you can take like people can use that to maybe make what I'm about to say less valuable if they want to. That's fine. What from my perspective, what we have at that gym is so fucking unique that it's like I cannot imagine like going somewhere else. There was a point last year where I almost had to move to Sunshine, and I was like so split
I'm
on
sure,
it.
torn.
I was just like, this sucks. Like it was for work, but I was like, and yeah, like it was good money and blah blah. I was like, I do want this, but like having to leave this portion of my life back here.
Yeah.
Luckily, things turned out in favor of me, so I didn't have to move. But like, I don't know.
No, yeah, we
We're
talk
so
about
fucking
jungle
lucky.
fam and like
Yeah,
it's so real.
Yeah.
It's so real. Everything from, I mean, obviously the gym itself is a hell of a facility. You know,
Yeah.
everything we need. The guys there again, best training partners ever.
It's crazy.
Coach Mike is literally like the absolute sensei about anything combat related. Like his understanding of combat is so intricate and precise and like properly dissected. It's mind blowing. Training around, you know, different gyms. I probably trained at maybe about like 4 different gyms now.
Mhm.
I've never been pushed harder than I have the jungle. Period. You know,
Yeah.
Friday nights are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday nights are hard. And when like I was going through moments like that where I was like, dude, like I am really out here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that kind of gave me the reassurance. I know, like, yeah, I'm doing the work.
Yep.
Yeah, like I'm doing the work.
Yep.
I'm doing the thing. And again, just like the individual attention you get, because I mean, our pro class, Mike brought this up the other day, and it kind of like really stuck out to me. It's like there's over 500 people go to the jungle. There's over 500 people go to the jungle, and he knows the names of most of the people, or actually all the people in this room. And there's maybe about 15 of us.
Yeah, that's why.
You know?
I've never thought about that. Actually.
Yeah, there's about 15 to 18 of us in a room at a time, and there's over 500 people go to the jungle. He knows every single one of our names. But at the same time, like that small group of like collected individuals who are all just so motivated and so dedicated to getting better and going in there and putting out their best, it's a perfect environment for growth.
I love it too because it's not just like, hey, I'm pushing you to be better. I'm push. It's there's also a fine balance of like, I think one of the first times I saw this was 2 years ago, like probably week, maybe a month into training there at that gym. And at that point in time, I wasn't even thinking about competition. I was just doing it because I was like, hey, I like this sport. It's something fun, and it's not me picking up weights and putting it back down. Like I wanted to do something that was different than that. But I don't remember who the guy was. I think he might still train there. I'm not sure. But I remember a dude sitting down against where that logo emblem in the wall that's poking out was or is now, but wasn't there before. He was just sitting down, and he was clearly just kind of like going through something. And I remember Coach Slade sitting down next to him and being like, "Hey man, what's up?" I had nothing to do with this. Like, I'm a new member. I'm just kind of like walking through. And he sat down next to him, and then I overheard that conversation. Clearly, he was kind of just going through like, "Hey man, my life kind of sucks right now. This shit sucks." And I remember him be like, "Okay, cool, yeah, man, let's go get like lunch and you talk about it." And I was just like, the moment I heard it, I was like, "Okay, cool, this is the place I want to be," because I've done other sports. Like, I've played football, like I've ran track, I did weightlifting for a little bit, like I played golf for a good bit.
There you go.
Yeah. Which I still need to play with Luke and Roman at some point. But I've experienced this push to be better. Like, and that's cool. And there's a place and time for that, and we definitely have that there. But then there's also like Coach Drew was talking about this last night. I think it was last night. It's okay to not be in that mindset all the time. It's totally fine and acceptable for people to like be open about that there. And there are a lot of gyms where that is not the case. Yeah. And so when I saw that and I see like even more of that now, I'm kind of going like, okay, these people genuinely care about these other people. It's not about like, hey man, I want to make sure that the gym looks good and we have a good performance this night. Like, all that stuff's good. That's nice. That's cool. And we do have that. But there's a deeper core to that of like, hey, I genuinely care about this person. Like, I want to make sure that this person's in the right mindset, not just for the fight, but just in life. And so when I see that, I kind of go, okay, cool. This is it. This is the place I want to be. So I don't know. It was a little rambly, but like that, it's
so true. And it just really like having that support system and knowing that, like, again, these are my friends.
Yeah.
These are people I care about. These are my brothers. Like, I see these people more often than I see my parents.
Yes.
I see people more often than I see my coworkers. I see these people actually more often than I see almost anybody in my life. And I think that knowing that and having that support, and also, I guess, the ability to be vulnerable. Like, the beginning of this camp, Drew and I sat down in the back and we talked for like 30 minutes. And I asked him, I was like, dude, like, can I do this? He was like, yes.
Yeah.
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 Well, I generally had to ask him, like, dude, like, am I being stupid right now? Like, should I just go home? Like, be honest and like, don't like hurt my feelings right now. It's like, no, like, we're gonna make this happen.
Yeah.
So just being in that position, there's not many places that you can be comfortable, but having that kind of comfort.
That back to what you were saying before, that like level of authenticity.
Authenticity can come from that level of comfort.
Yeah, it just we're doing a sport that, like, if you don't put the work in, it's gonna show. And then, like, on top of that, not just the physical work, but sometimes I think the mental work gets neglected, and I don't feel like it gets neglected where we train, which is awesome. So, but on that long note, I'm gonna call it.
Fair enough.
Thank you so much, man.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Hell yeah, man. I've learned a lot. I hope a lot of other people learn a lot. I love doing these, especially with you guys, because you guys are my teammates. Like I said, I see you more often than I see a lot of other people in my life. And so it helps me. It helps me gain more, I think, from training, because then I kind of have more now of a backstory of like, okay, I know what Josh is about, like, and then so now when I'm in training with him and I see different things, or I see you grow, I'm like, hell yeah, like I see where he was like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, I don't know. For me, it makes training a little bit more personal. And hopefully for everybody else, it's a little bit more entertaining and educational. So, but yeah, man, thanks again.
Dude, you know it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I will put all the other fun stuff on YouTube and all that stuff after the fact. But for all of you guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you watching. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Next podcast.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, Memorial Weekend, and all that fun stuff. Don't get too crazy, especially all my teammates that are hopefully fighting in July. Don't go too nuts. But thank you again. Take care.
You know it.